Hello, YouTube. Jared here with Wargaming with Jared. And about 2 weeks ago, I dropped my brand new bicycle right on my hand. And as the title said, I am not in any shape to be painting. So I was taken to the emergency room. I had 11 stitches, and I am not able to paint for a while now. So, uh, that was definitely a change of plans and definitely a lot of pain. My fingers are recovering. I just got the stitches out today, thankfully, but it looks like it's going to be a little longer till I'm able to paint. But I'm doing okay. But I am out of the painting game, and if you know me, I'm left-handed, and of course it was my left hand. So my painting hand is injured, and so I've been thinking a lot recently about what can I do since I can't actually do my hobby. I want to paint, I want to play, but I can't really paint and I can't really play because I don't have the finger dexterity to do those things. So instead of feeling sorry for myself and just staring at all the models I can't play, I've been trying to be positive and I've been trying to find other things to do. So I hope that this video encourages you, if you're not able to paint or play when you want to paint and play, just to think about what can you do with your hobby time and with those few hours in the evenings when you have for a few hours to work on a project. What other hobby adjacent projects can you do? So that's the whole point of this video, is I want to update you on some of the other fun stuff I'm doing and some of the stuff I'm still planning for next year. And hopefully I'll be back to painting here in the next week or so and kind of ease myself back into the painting side of the hobby, which is where I enjoy the most. So first thing I've been doing is I got the terrain special from Hachette. For $99, you get this whole bunker set up. And I can't paint, but I have just enough hand grip strength that I was able to use my clippers and clip the big pieces of terrain out. And then doesn't need a lot of gluing on these or a lot of fine details. It's just big chunks of plastic. So sanded it down and glued it together. So I got the big Hachette terrain bundle all glued up. I'll put a link in the description if anybody else wants to order this thing. It's about $300 of terrain, I think, ish, for only $99. So a good deal and a good way to finally get a board of terrain. And then I was able to trade some of my Tau, not my primary army, some extra models that I had gotten in a lot, for an old 9th edition starter box. And that had the old terrain in it. So between this, my Chalnath terrain, and the big Hachette bundle, I should have about a full board of GW terrain, so I can use less of my scratch built stuff and more of the official plastic. I'll have to paint it, and I can't paint it, but at the very least, I could assemble it. So I got all my terrain assembled, and that felt like progress, and I was able to watch some movies and kind of feel like I'm getting something done. My real problem is I'm out of room to put assembled models. So even if I build something, I can't really put it on my shelves because my shelves are full of models primed and ready to paint. I got 3 armies waiting for me. So it was nice to get some terrain assembled. So I was able to find something in the hobby that I could do. Other thing I've been working on is I'm working on writing a custom campaign. So I have 30,000 points of Age of Sigmar, and I've been wanting to challenge myself to figure out how to play a campaign game using that many points. Now, when I got to 15,000 points, I did a big game where I put 7,500 points versus 7,500 points, and it was a big game with all the models on the board, and I sent them out in waves to fight. But by the end of that, I was miserable. It was hard to keep going just because when you're playing solo with that many points, it's a lot of really tedious dice rolls, especially with all the chaff units. And so, like, the big stuff fights, the dragons and the heroes, and then you just have to sit there and roll dice for Hobgrots and just the endless lines of Stormcast that have lost 3 models. Now there's only 2 Vindicators left, but they got to take their little stab, and they miss all their shots and, do 0 damage to whatever target they're hitting. And so it was a slog. Trying to play 3,000 points versus 3,000 points is about the absolute limit, especially solo game, because at that point you can't keep track of rules. So trying to play 30,000 points, that sounds ridiculous. And so it can't be one giant mega game. It's got to be a series of smaller games. So I'm writing a campaign. I made a campaign map. I'm making some custom rules. But the goal is to try and get all my models on the table at some point during the campaign, kind of permadeath it out and fight it. I'll make another video once I finalize the rules and walk you through it. But I think it's a fun challenge, and it'll be nice too because I have quite a few armies, and I think should be able to break it down so it'll be order versus all of the three evil ones. So death, chaos, and destruction will all team up together. But it'll be pretty fun. And I have some bigger proxy models that I'll put in there. And then my full Hachette collection will be in there. And then a bunch of other stuff I've collected over the last couple years. So that'll be super fun and just a nice thing to be thinking about. And while I am just sitting around, it's nice to be doing some writing because oftentimes I don't want to write because I want to paint. So since I can't paint, it's nice to get some writing done. Before I go on, if you could subscribe, obviously I'm kind of missing my my painting time and making videos on my painting challenges, but I do enjoy making guides between painting projects. And whether you enjoy my guides or my painting projects, it does mean a lot to me when you subscribe and helps me grow the channel and be able to make the excuse to devote more time to this YouTube channel. So if you haven't already subscribed or left the YouTube pleasantries, I really do appreciate it. Other things I'm working on is just organizing models. I find when you're building multiple projects, it's really easy to forget stuff. So, for example, I haven't magnetized my Tau yet. So I pulled them back out and kind of made a note to myself once my hand is feeling a little better and I feel comfortable dropping magnets into super glue. I've got to get the Tau remagnetized. Other things I touched up, I realized that some of my Sylvaneth army, I never finished putting the basing material on. So I was working on that. And then my Lumineth, I painted up the big cow guy, but I put the wrong color flowers on. So I took off the bright pink flowers and put on some pale pink flowers. So just little touch-ups here and there. I tried to paint one mini and it was hard on my hand, but I was able to fix one mistake that I made on one mini that's been kind of bugging me for a while. So just trying to do a little bit here and a little bit there. There's been point rebalances on a few games, so I was going through my lists and cleaning up my lists. I use New Recruit, and I love the way it lets you organize lists. And so I was organizing my lists and thinking about different games and options that I want to try and combinations and looking at all the war gear options on kits I'm planning to build eventually. And then I got some Christmas shopping done. I bought myself some models for Christmas, and my birthday's in January, so I bought myself some birthday gifts too on some Black Friday sales. So that was really nice. And then I've been kind of cleaning that up and tidying it up. And then I went back to my chart of my 11 armies and 11th edition. That's still on, even if I can't paint this month, then I'm going to be a month behind. I do still want to do that. So here's where I stand right now, roughly. I've added a new color to the chart for stuff that I got for Black Friday. Obviously, if I'm shopping for myself and putting my kid's name on it, I kind of already know what I'm going to get for most of the kits. Few things are going to be surprises and might not even be Warhammer, but I suspect I might get one or two more kits. But this is roughly where the armies are sitting. The Black Templar army, like I mentioned in a previous video, is really fluid because it was a trade lot. It was free models. Some of those models might go Ultramarine, and I might buy some Black Templars. Some of the models might move around between Ultramarines and Imperial Fists. And actually, if the starter box is Space Marines, and we know it is, and I get that, there's a good chance I'll have enough extra models left over to start a 4th chapter as well, too. Don't know if I'll take it to 2,000 points, but I do want to start one more chapter of Space Marines because I like a lot of the chapters, and it's really fun to have a big army of Space Marines. I am realizing now that I'm getting into this project more. Space Marines are not an elite army, and that's really nice. You don't need that many Space Marines to get to 2,000 points. You need a lot of Necrons, a lot of Tyranids, a lot of Astra Militarum, but you don't need that many Space Marines, and that's a really fun little perk to it. But looking ahead to next year, Necrons are done. I got all the models. I just got to finish building and painting them. 3 Space Marine armies are pretty much in the bag. Tau's in the bag. So those are all done. In terms of the Hachette magazine, Chaos Space Marines will be finished, no problem. Orcs will probably be in the starter box, and they're also in the Hachette magazine, so that's basically done. The only armies that I really need to collect for 2026 are going to be Tyranids, Astra Militarum, Genestealer cults, and then probably a few more Eldari kits. There's a bunch more of the magazine I'm going to get, and then I'm not sure what else I want to collect for them. I might grab a few more kits, But of those four, it's probably going to mostly be, can I get one or two of them in a trade lot and then, save up some fun money or save up a few extra bucks and try to buy a few things on a sale or a discount just to get those over the finish line. So that's all fluid. That I like having a challenge for next year. And it's not just a painting challenge. It's also a shopping challenge. So I want to see if I can get a trade lot or a sale deal or something. Whether I buy something and trade it, I don't even know. But I'm going to figure that out. And I got 4 armies to figure out, and the other 6, 7 armies, more or less, in the bag if I can actually get around to painting them. So it's a steep goal, but I'm going to do my best to finish it. If not the end of 2026, early 2027, I want this done. So that's how 11 and 11 is going. Looks like I'm good, but we'll see. Other things I've been doing is playing some Warhammer games and catching up on my Steam backlog. I finally gave Gladius a try. Quick review of Gladius. It's fun, but you only have 4 starting factions, and they put a lot of DLC on it. Now, it's funny I'm saying that because the other game I played was Total War Warhammer 3, and I love Total War Warhammer 3. I feel like Total War Warhammer is so much deeper than Gladius. Gladius is fun, but there's the asterisk of you're building one small army to go fight their armies, and that's it. Whereas Total War Warhammer 3 is, I'm playing Immortal Empires. If you've never played Immortal Empires on Total War Warhammer 3, you've got to try it out. I was a Civilization fan for years until I discovered Total War Warhammer. And let me tell you, in Civ, what you kind of cap off at 10, 20 civilizations. Immortal Empires, which is the big combination game, has almost 300 armies on it. And that's hero armies all the way down to little tiny rebellious armies. And having a map that big with that many factions on it is just something special. There's just something really special about that game. It's hard and I'm terrible at it, but I still enjoy playing it just because it's really big. And they're both turn-based games, so I can go really easy on my finger and use my right hand on the mouse, and then I might tap a hotkey with my left hand, but I'm not using the arrow keys or the directional keys, WSAD. So those games are kind of off limits. I've tried to do a little bit of Minecraft, but it's rough on my hands, so I'm trying not to do much. And anything that's fast and furious, Dark Souls is a long way away. Let's just say that, because I don't have the hand dexterity that I used to, and that's still driving me up the wall. Other things that I've been doing is the only other hobby or thing I collect besides Warhammer is old card games. The 2 card games that I collect are the Star Wars customizable card game and the Middle Earth collectible card game. And these are both old card games from a decade ago or more. And I enjoy collecting old card games because it's fun to find lots and people who are trading online. You don't have to worry about meta chasers or scalpers. They're all long gone. And it's just a good time trying to build some decks. And you have the rules are set up, and it's fun to buy old cards and relive somebody else's nostalgia in a sense. Now, obviously, I love Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, but I did sort of grow up with the Star Wars customizable card game. But the Middle Earth one I only found this last year, and it is very charming. Both of these games predate card games that had tournaments and meta, and so the games were designed to be faithful recreations of the subject matter first and foremost, and then easy to play and balanced was an afterthought. And so these games are both wildly unbalanced, wildly lore accurate over and fun over competitive, and I love that. It is so much fun, and they're both so charming. So I have a fun time buying up these cards and seeing what I can do. So if you're interested in more about this stuff, leave something in the comments, and maybe I can make a video more on these card games if you're interested on the topic. I know this is more of a wargaming channel, but I find collectible card games to be pretty adjacent to wargaming. But that's the main things I've been doing. It's been nice to find other aspects of my hobby, and then some other hobbies to kind of poke around at and keep myself busy. But I'm healing up here. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to start lifting a brush and having a little bit of more hand control. And I find painting is going to be a pretty good way to regain that hand control. So I'll be trying that out in the next week or so, going slow. The thing that drives me the craziest is I was half done painting an Imperial Fist Terminator librarian with tons of little tiny details. And I can't have that as my starting model. So he's going to have to stay half painted and taunting me. And I'm going to find some simpler models to paint. I have some little decorative skies I'm going to paint first, just to get my hand back, get my technique back. And then I'll get back to painting my armies as soon as I possibly can. But I really appreciate you watching my videos and my guides, and this video as well too. So if you haven't subscribed, I really appreciate it, and I'll be back with more videos. And then come next year, diving into the challenges. I'll be trying to build 11 armies for the next edition of 40K, and then hopefully planning a big mass game for Age of Sigmar. So that's coming up next. If that sounds interesting, I'd love to see you. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.